With Origami Risk, you can easily create custom safety audits. Here you see a location safety audit. It's pretty comprehensive. How do we create it in the first place? To create your custom audit, you first go to the administration section, and you want to create audit code sets and your audit definition. That's the audit itself. What's an audit code set? An audit code set are the answers that repeat over and over again. The meets expectation, needs improvement, not applicable, etc. Here we've just created two. I think of them as green or red, the yes-no answer, or green, yellow, red, which has the sort of almost answer. Within a code set, you define the possible answers. Here we have meets expectations, needs improvement. Yellow, that's approaching expectations, and of course, not applicable. With code sets in place, you can then build your audit. I click on Audit Definitions. I can create a new one from scratch, but here you see the location safety audit that we've already built. Let's take a look at it. At the top, you see the audit categories. These are just the sections within your audit. We've broken it into fire, OSHA compliance, policy, auto, facility equipment, slip fall, strain, and training. You give them an order, and you decide if it's possible to just say the whole section doesn't apply. That's the can be not applicable setting. Once the categories are defined, you can add as many questions as you need to each category. Let's take a look at the questions. Here's the fire extinguisher question. Are they clearly visible and unobstructed? You'll notice you decide, is this a coded question? And if it is, which audit code set do you want? Is this green, yellow, red, or just green, red? You're not restricted to coded questions. You can have yes, no, you can have dates, when was the last time something happened, numbers, how many fire extinguishers do you have, etc. But in this case, this is a coded question. You specify your text. You can decide if it's required. You can make one question toggle based on the answer of another question. You can have complicated scoring for the question. In this case, it's pretty straightforward. A green answer is worth 10, a yellow answer is worth 5, red's worth nada. So that gives you a possible score of 10. The exclude script is for scoring if you want this to not contribute to the total at all. So if the answer is not applicable, then while you'll get 0 points for it, it also won't contribute to the possible score. And then finally, for each question, you have the option of adding attachments, photos, whatever, assigning tasks, writing notes, or entering corrective actions on the fly. And lastly, you can add a tooltip. This is handy because what does it mean to be approaching expectations? Well, meets expectations means all the fire extinguishers are good. Approaching means, well, you've only got one fire extinguisher that's not really good. And needs improvement is more than one fire extinguisher isn't cutting it. So that's how you define a single question. And so you see we've created questions for the fire category, for OSHA compliance, policy, auto, etc., all the way down the list. Once you've created the audit, there's a variety of ways to distribute it out to the folks that need to actually perform the audit. You could create an anonymous entry link so that the folks in the field would just go to a portal, click a button to enter their safety audit. Since this is a location audit, the first thing I have to do is say what location. Then I click next, and here you see the full audit that we've created. And I can easily go through and enter my data. Here you see if I want to add something to a specific question, a file or a note, or I can even create a corrective action on the fly. Maybe this location has a lot of Spanish-speaking employees, so we want a fire evacuation plan posted in Spanish as well. You see the tooltips we created to help users fill out the survey properly. If an entire section doesn't apply, it can easily be dismissed. And when I've finished entering my data, I simply click Complete Response. And that's how easy it is to complete the audit, but that's not where it stops. Within Origami, you can review audits in progress or completed. Here you see the Chicago location with a final score of 485. Clicking on that audit I can see the breakdown scoring and the full response detail. Now you may recall that I added a corrective action for the fire evacuation plan. If I click on it, here you see the response and the corrective action. But this audit has a bunch of corrective actions. You can set up events in Origami to automatically create corrective actions based on survey responses. Since the safety box cutter question had a response of needs improvement, this corrective action was automatically created. And maybe you want to create an event on a particularly bad audit score. Within administration, you simply go to Data Entry Events. I click New Event, and I pick Audit Responses. The audit response is the entire response. Audit answers are the individual answers. I only care when the audit is completed. And I'll make a filter. There might be more than one audit. So in this case, for our location safety audit, and if the score is below 300, that would be pretty bad. So I give the event a description, and now I decide what actions I want to fire. Well, you know what? I want to get a text if anybody gets a score that low. So for new action, I pick new SMS message, type in my fictitious cell phone number. So maybe I want to say very low safety audit. And I want to put the location name. And just drag that in. And I want to know what the score is. That's it. Click Save Changes. Now, anytime an extremely poor safety audit is entered, I'll immediately get a text. That's how easy it is to create audits and workflows based on those audits in Origami Risk.